What if I told you a 16-year-old girl was dropped off at school one Tuesday morning,
Okay.
and she immediately walks out the back door, spends the next 5 hours moving around her small town with this, I don't know, this mysterious purpose?
So she doesn't even go to class.
Not for a minute. And in the middle of all this, she sends a text message, just 3 words, "Hey, I need help."
And then?
And then she vanishes.
Yeah.
Just gone. Vanished into thin air, never to be seen again.
That is absolutely chilling.
That opening, as real as it is, really just summarizes the core facts of what became one of Canada's most confounding missing persons cases.
Yeah.
That Tuesday was April 12, 2016. The town was Yorkton, Saskatchewan, a prairie town, pretty small, just over 16,000 people. And the girl, of course, was Mekayla Bali.
And we have so much information for those first few hours. It's what makes this case so frustrating.
It's incredible. We have this stack of sources, security camera footage, that lets us know almost minute by minute where she was.
We can literally watch her.
We can watch her visit a bank, withdraw some cash, go to a pawn shop, eat lunch at a restaurant. She even spends a good chunk of time at a Tim Hortons, just meticulously handling her phone.
She's clearly purposeful, but there's a frantic energy to it all.
Exactly. But here's the pivot point. This is the moment where all that data just stops.
Right.
After 1:45 p.m., not a single camera catches where she went.
Or, and this is the key, who she met.
Who she met.
Yeah.
This deep dive is about forensically piecing together that 5-hour window, this guided, deliberate sequence of events.
Right.
Mekayla Bali was a shy, violin-playing 11th grader. She loved drama club, and she left behind this digital trail that just screams online grooming and luring.
A trail that leads to a physical meeting that just erases her.
Our mission today is to really dissect the source material, the police reports, witness statements, family accounts, to understand how the dark side of anonymity can let someone just disappear in broad daylight.
Welcome to Whispers of Crime.
Before we really jump into the timeline, make sure you subscribe to Whispers of Crime on YouTube. You can also follow us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Spreaker, and, well, pretty much any other podcast platform.
It really helps us get these stories out there.
Okay, so let's set the scene. Who was Mekayla?
Mekayla Margaret Kim Bali. She was born in Niebergall in 1999, so she was 16 when she vanished.
Okay.
She was about 5'2", slender, maybe 115 pounds, blonde hair, though her natural color was red, blue eyes, and she wore glasses sometimes.
And she lived in Yorkton with her family.
Yeah, with her mom, Paula Bali, her aunt, her maternal grandmother, and 2 younger siblings. It's also really important to note a piece of context here that speaks to her emotional state.
What's that?
Her maternal grandfather had died just 1 month before she disappeared, March of 2016.
Wow. So she was dealing with some very fresh, very profound grief.
Absolutely. Her mom described her as a homebody, quiet, not a risky kid.
She sounded like a typical Canadian teenager. What makes this disappearance so immediate and terrifying? Was there something hidden leading up to that day?
That's the perfect question, because that profile, the shy, quiet homebody dealing with grief, that's exactly what makes her vulnerable. The terror comes from the visible structure and urgency of her actions that day. It feels like that vulnerability. The grief, the shyness, that was the specific target.
Someone found a crack and just wedged their way in.
Exactly.
Well, let's talk about it. The sources confirmed that this quiet homebody exterior was, well, it was just one layer. Underneath, she had an extremely active and therefore very vulnerable online life.
She had a huge digital presence, used a bunch of different aliases, Nancy Neeb, Mickey Swag Tricks, Mekayla Baller.
Which isn't that unusual for a teenager, right? Trying on different identities.
Not at all. But it can signal a desire for secrecy, a way to compartmentalize your online life from your real one.
And that compartmentalization, that's a key behavioral marker, isn't it?
It is. It lets you have conversations you would never want your friends or family to know about. And we know from the sources her vulnerability was public. In March 2016, just weeks before she vanished, she posted on Snapchat and Instagram.
What did it say?
It was basically a cry for help. Looking for Snapchat friends because I have none in real life. Add me.
Oh, that's just heartbreaking. And for a predator, that's bait.
It's textbook. Her friends were already worried. They knew she was messaging guys online, older guys she didn't know in person. Some outside Yorkton, at least one in the U.S.
And this is where the specific apps she was using becomes so important.
Right. Investigators later really singled out the anonymous messaging apps, specifically Kik.
When we talk about kick, what are we really talking about?
We're talking about an ecosystem that is almost designed for anonymity. The sources point out its inadequate parental controls. It lets users connect without phone numbers, without real verification.
Which is why it gets labeled a predator's playground.
Precisely. The people she was meeting online were the ones providing the script, the guidance that dictated every single move she made on April 12th.
And you can see that guidance starting to manifest the day before, on April 11th.
Her whole demeanor changes.
Yeah, she seemed visibly upset in her Christian ethics class. Later that day, she's texting friends about taking a vacation, throwing out different places, Regina, Moose Jaw, Saskatoon.
All hinting at a need for travel, for transportation, a key part of any lure.
The sources also talk about her communicating with two specific guys she knew.
Right, there was Josh, an ex-boyfriend. Police ruled him out pretty quickly.
And the other one?
Christopher, a man who lived in North Carolina.
Yeah, Carolina.
Yeah. He was interviewed by both U.S. and Canadian police. He had an alibi, he was cleared. But the complexity there is that he later admitted to the CBC that he'd been helping Mekayla with her struggles with self-harm.
Okay, so that, combined with the grief over her grandfather, she was in an extremely volatile and vulnerable state.
Any predator would see that and exploit it immediately. They position themselves as the only one who understands the victim's pain. It creates this intense, immediate dependency.
And central to this whole plan was money.
Yeah.
Or the desperate need for it.
On the evening of April 11th, she's urgently trying to get cash. She calls TD Bank's customer service 3 times between 5:30 and 6:00 p.m.
So how much did she get?
She only managed to transfer $25 into her account.
Just $25.
But later that night, she asks her friend Oksana for a ride to the bank the next morning, claiming she needed to withdraw an impossible amount of money.
How much?
$5,000.
If she only transferred $25, why tell her friend she needed $5,000?
That level of deception and urgency suggests she was either desperate or working under someone else's instructions, doesn't it?
It functions exactly like a test of compliance and desperation.
What do you mean, a test?
The groomer may have demanded a high, unattainable sum for travel expenses or something. The goal isn't for her to actually get the money.
Right. The goal is to see how far she'll go, how obedient she is. The impossible number just increases her stress and her sense of obligation, which makes him easier to control when the real meeting happens.
That manufactured urgency.
Yeah.
It just carried right into the morning of April 12th.
At 6:41 a.m., she texts Oksana again. Same request, ride to the bank.
And Oksana refused because the bank wasn't even open yet. A decision I'm sure she's replayed in her mind a million times.
I can't even imagine.
So her grandmother drops her off at Sacred Heart High School between 8:04 and 8:20 a.m.
And we have the CCTV footage. It captures her putting a binder in her locker at 8:21 a.m.
A binder that police later confirmed had nothing significant in it.
Right, and then she just leaves, walks out the back door between 8:25 and 8:30. She was wearing a burgundy coat, jeans, and a teal infinity scarf.
So she logs onto the school Wi-Fi at 8:08 a.m., probably for a last-minute check-in with someone.
Puts the binder away as a prop.
And leaves. The entire day is a planned skip, focused entirely on these external objectives: money, communication, and transport.
Which brings us to a huge contradiction. If she's planning this vacation, did she pack for it?
The answer is a clear no. And this is what really hurts the whole voluntary runaway theory.
Yeah.
This is the critical forensic detail. Mekayla left behind her essential daily medication for severe acne.
A condition we know she was deeply insecure about.
She also didn't take her makeup, her phone charger, or even a stash of cash her mom had in the house.
For a 16-year-old girl, especially one struggling with her self-image, leaving behind medication for a condition that adds to that insecurity, it's extremely telling.
It really is.
It completely contradicts a planned, long-term runaway scenario. It tells you she either planned to be back very quickly, or her departure was so abrupt, so guided or coerced, that she didn't have a chance to grab even the most basic things.
It all points back to external control. A short-term meeting, not an escape.
The next hour is it's a frantic sequence, and it's all caught on camera. It maps her trying to get this money she was told she needed.
Leaving school, she walks along the railroad tracks, heading toward the commercial part of town.
Between 8:30 and 9:00 a.m., she goes into Terry's pawn and bargain, tries to pawn a silver ring.
And the clerk turned her down, said it wasn't worth much. But the clerk also noted something interesting.
She didn't seem distressed.
Right. She's turned away, and she's calm. Right after that, she goes to the TD Bank, waits for it to open, and withdraws $55. the total sum of her available money.
Okay, so let's analyze that. She fails to get the $5,000. She fails to pawn the ring. She walks away with just $55, and yet she's calm.
It's another one of those analytical friction points, as you call them.
It suggests that whoever was guiding her either accepted the $55 as enough, or the main goal had shifted from getting cash to just getting to the meeting itself.
She did the tasks she was told to do, however small the result, and now she's moving on to the rendezvous point.
Which takes us to the combined Tim Hortons and Wendy's. She goes in around 9:10 a.m., buys a hot drink, and sits down.
And the CCTV footage from this spot gives us the most compelling look into her state of mind.
At first, she sits facing away from the entrance.
Yeah, but then she keeps turning, looking at the doors. She's clearly anxious, waiting for someone. And then we see the most telling action.
She starts taking her phone apart.
She dismantles it and then puts it back together.
This is huge. Investigators believe she was switching SIM cards. This wasn't just rebooting the phone, it was changing its identity.
A different SIM card means a different number, probably a prepaid, untraceable account.
It confirms two things. One, the whole plan was orchestrated in advance. And two, the main way they were communicating was through data-based apps like Kik or Snapchat, which bypasses traditional call logs.
It's digital camouflage.
Exactly. She leaves the restaurant for a bit at 9:23 a.m., just walks this big circle around the area for about 25 minutes.
Which feels like she's just killing time, right? Like she was told to wait.
Totally. Then she comes back at 9:49 a.m. This time, she picks a new booth, closer to the window, and she's deliberately facing the door. She is 100% waiting for someone.
And the ultimate proof of that real-time control comes next, through her phone.
At 10:12 a.m., she texts her friend Shelby Thottick, the frantic plea.
Hey, I need help. But this is the mechanism of control in action. 20 or 30 minutes later, around 10:32 a.m.
Another message. Never mind, I figured it out.
That sequence, the immediate cry for help, followed by this seemingly external resolution. That is a chilling, recognized behavioral signature in online luring cases.
It tells us Mekayla hit a snag, a crisis. Maybe the person was late, maybe the plan changed. But instead of figuring it out herself, the person on the other end of that phone managed the crisis for her in real time, told her what to do next.
She wasn't running away, she was executing a directive.
The desperation just got more intense from there.
At 10:43 a.m., she gets off the phone. And in what seems like a moment of panic, she does something not in the plan. She approaches a total stranger, an older woman at a nearby table.
And she asks for help renting a hotel room. She even mentions the Ramada Inn nearby. The woman, of course, refused.
She asked a stranger for a hotel room? She was crying out for help earlier? This behavior isn't running away. It's the frantic execution of a desperate, perhaps dangerous task.
That is a moment of pure panic. The planned meeting spot must have fallen through, or the person on the phone was demanding she find a space right now, and she couldn't because of her age. It's not autonomous behavior, it's frantic.
What does law enforcement make of all this untraceable phone activity? This has to be the biggest hurdle.
It's the absolute heart of the investigative failure. Because she was using data-based apps and probably a burner SIM, nothing registered on her TELUS account.
So they had to rely on the social media companies themselves.
Companies in the U.S., like Cook and Snapchat. And because of U.S. privacy laws, the complexity around the Stored Communications Act when a foreign police force makes a request. Well, the RCMP faced a catastrophic delay.
How long?
They only got access to that data 10 months later.
10 months. We need to explain why that is so devastating. In an investigation, you talk about the golden hour, right? The first 48 hours.
Exactly. Digital evidence, especially ephemeral data like IP logs, the exact geographic coordinates of where a message was sent from, that data has a very short shelf life.
Tech companies just don't keep it forever.
They have retention policies, often just weeks or a few months. After that, it's deleted, it's overwritten, it's gone.
So by the time the RCMP finally got access, the vital logs that could have pinpointed the groomer's location were likely just gone.
Gone. It let the perpetrator operate with total impunity. They knew the system. They knew the window for tracking that data was brief. The case went cold digitally before it even really began physically.
After that failed hotel attempt, Mekayla leaves the Tim Hortons for the last time. She's still on the phone, and her movements now focus on one place, the bus depot.
The final rendezvous point.
Between 11:00 a.m. and 11:45 a.m., she's seen at the STC bus depot. She asks an employee about the next bus to Regina, which is about 150 miles away.
And she's told it leaves at 5:00 p.m. but she leaves without buying a ticket.
Right. The bus depot is a classic location for this kind of thing, isn't it?
Absolutely. It's a transient hub. People come and go. Nobody pays much attention. It gives a plausible cover story for why she's there alone. The question about Regina was just the cover.
And what's so strange is what she does next. This brief final U-turn.
At 11:35 a.m., she texts a friend, "I'll see you at lunch." Then she actually goes back to her high school.
Yeah, at 11:59 a.m., she talked to two classmates for just a few minutes, repeating her cover story about taking a bus to Regina for a vacation.
And one of those students mentioned she might have had 2 phones.
Which reinforces that burner phone theory.
Yeah.
She's captured on camera leaving the school at 12:03 p.m. She rounds a corner, and that's the last the school camera sees of her.
That return trip is so hard to interpret. It's literally 4 minutes.
What do you make of it?
It strongly suggests she was trying to keep up the appearance of a very brief absence. Or maybe seeing her friends triggered a last desperate moment of doubt.
A final chance to get out of it.
It's possible. Or it was just a final directive from her handler. Go back, tell them you're leaving, then come to the final spot. Either way, it points to a controlled short-term plan, not her own escape.
Her last known destination was the Trail Stop restaurant, which is attached to the bus depot. So she's right there at the nexus of departure and rendezvous.
She orders lunch, poutine, and sits alone, waiting.
The last confirmed sighting of Mekayla was by eyewitnesses who saw her leaving that restaurant between 1:000 p.m. and 1:45 p.m.
And this is critical. Police
Yeah.
confirm she never bought a ticket and never got on that 5:0 p.m. bus to Regina.
She met someone, or she was picked up the second she walked out that door. The bus depot wasn't her point of travel. It was the location of her disappearance.
Which brings us to the single most important physical lead in this entire case. It comes from a witness, a woman at the trail stop.
She reported seeing Mekayla walking with a big guy carrying white bags right around the time Mekayla left.
This man immediately became the primary person of interest, the POI, and the description is incredibly detailed. Stocky build, muscular arms, dark hair.
And a very large, very prominent tattoo on his forearm.
A fiery cross.
A fiery cross. That precision, that unique detail, it should have been the highest priority lead. This man is the physical end of the digital lure.
So if the police questioned this man, the person physically with her at her last known location, why did the trail still go cold? Was he officially cleared?
This is the frustrating part. The sources say the man did eventually come forward and was questioned. His story was that he was just holding the door for Mekayla as she left the restaurant.
Just holding the door.
But, and this is the crucial part for our analysis, official police sources have never, ever provided a public statement that definitively clears the man with the fiery cross tattoo.
That lack of a public clearance is significant.
It is. It signals that either his story wasn't enough to completely eliminate him, or police are keeping him as a person of interest for strategic reasons.
You have to think his physical presence at that exact moment and location where the digital trail dies. It's circumstantial, sure, but it's extremely strong evidence that she was meeting a prearranged handler.
His story of just holding the door is plausible, but it doesn't explain the witness seeing them walking together or the white bags or the fact she vanished seconds later. The rest of the day just ticks by. 3:40 p.m., her grandmother's at the school to pick her up. Mekayla never shows. Her mom reports her missing just before 8:40 p.m. that night.
And the final digital event happens the next morning. Her phone is officially turned off at 6:51 a.m.
Her bank account has never been used since.
So the investigation ramps up, but it quickly becomes this massive, overwhelming case. It eventually gets transferred to the RCMP Historical Case Unit.
They received over 800 tips from all over the world. But right from the start, the whole process was filled with friction, wasn't it?
Yeah, a lot of it centered on that lost digital evidence and just the general pace of the investigation. The institutional context is important here. The Saskatchewan RCMP unit handles something like 140 missing persons cases at any given time.
Wow. So their resources are stretched incredibly thin.
That has to impact the speed and intensity of any single case, especially one this complex.
And Mekayla's mother, Mekayla Bali, she has become this tireless advocate. She works constantly to keep the case in the public eye.
She has. But she's also been critical of the RCMP investigation. She suggested it could have been more aggressive. and that key information was initially withheld from the public.
Like the hotel request.
Exactly. The fact that Mekayla asked a stranger for help renting a hotel room.
From an investigative standpoint, why would they hold that back?
Sometimes police hold back specific details to vet incoming tips. If someone calls in and mentions the hotel, they know that person has legitimate information.
But when a case goes cold,
Right. Releasing those details earlier might have generated the breakthrough they needed. The criticism comes from the family's understandable urgency, clashing with the slow, bureaucratic reality of a major investigation.
and as we've already covered, the biggest roadblock was the tech itself. That 10-month delay getting data from Kik and Snapchat was just devastating.
It really was. The legal wall they hit was the U.S. Stored Communications Act. It governs how tech companies can release data to foreign governments, and the process is it's incredibly slow.
In the context of digital evidence that disappears in weeks, a 10-month wait is basically the same as getting no data at all.
It is. The perpetrator used the system, both the tech and the law, to their advantage.
There were also a couple of really strange digital anomalies that happened after she disappeared, which make the simple runaway theory even harder to believe.
The first one was a secondary Instagram account she had under her birth name, Niebergall.
Yeah. The About Me section was edited. It contained just a single word.
Goodbye.
So what do you make of that?
It's highly ambiguous. It could be a genuine farewell. But a forensic analyst has to consider that the groomer or handler accessed her account after she was gone
Quite.
to create a digital smokescreen, to make it look like a voluntary departure, steer the police in that direction, and buy themselves precious time.
And the second anomaly is maybe even more disturbing. It suggests her phone was active months later.
The Snapchat message. Her friend Shelby sent her a message that stayed marked as delivered for 3 months, and then suddenly it was marked as open.
Opened 3 months after she vanished.
It's deeply chilling. Police couldn't confirm if Mekayla saw it, but it means the device was on or the account was logged into by someone. It completely contradicts the idea that she just ran away and went dark. Someone was managing her digital afterlife.
Given all this chaos, the desperation for money, the cryptic texts, the digital silence, it seems impossible to tell if she ran away or was taken. What are the key theories investigators considered?
They really focus on 3 main hypotheses. First is the theory of a voluntary runaway.
Which has low viability, right?
Yeah, very low. As we said, no history of running away. She left behind her essential medication, she didn't take her passport, and she didn't even get on the bus she asked about. The complexity of her actions just requires external direction.
Okay, so theory 2.
Online grooming and luring. This has very high viability. It's really the only logical explanation for the timeline. Her anonymous online life was the perfect breeding ground.
And the I need help, never mind text sequence is the smoking gun of that real-time management.
Exactly. Which leads directly to theory 3,
Sure.
human trafficking. This is seen as the functional outcome of the luring. It's what her mother fears most.
And geographically, it makes sense.
It does. Yorkton is located right along recognized corridors that connect major Western Canadian trafficking hubs: Regina, Winnipeg, Edmonton, Calgary. The urgent need for transport and a private meeting place aligns perfectly with being moved into an organized network.
The groomer built the trust, and the POI at the bus depot acted as the handler.
That's the dominant theory. And the subsequent tips and sightings, even unconfirmed in places like Calgary and Edmonton, they just add weight to it.
9 years have now passed. The search, fueled by her mother's advocacy, has been absolutely relentless.
Over 800 tips have come in, but so many of the leads just prove inconclusive, which is tragically common when a victim is moved quickly through a network.
We have those unconfirmed sightings all along trafficking corridors: 2017 in the Calgary area, 2019 outside a bar in Edmonton, 2020 in Penticton, BC, though that one was confirmed not to be her.
Her image was even featured on homeward-bound trucks in 2022. The case has an international reach.
And to try and get that crucial piece of information, there is a significant reward.
Yes. An initial reward from the family was increased by anonymous donors to $100,000 Canadian.
As of today, Mekayla Bali would be 26 years old. Her mother, Paula, still says, "I believe she's alive."
9 years of what they call ambiguous loss. No body, no closure. The family is just trapped between hope and devastation. The case is still classified as suspicious circumstances. The POI has not been definitively cleared.
And the digital evidence, the heart of it all, was lost to time and privacy loss. So from your perspective, what is the one single thing we, the public, need to focus on to help solve this?
It has to be the most distinctive physical lead we have. The man seen leaving the Trail Stop restaurant with Mekayla?
The man with the fiery cross tattoo on his forearm.
That's the one. He reported to police. He gave his story that he was just holding the door, but he was the last person seen with her at the exact moment she vanished.
That tattoo is unique. Someone knows who he is.
And while we can't assume he's guilty, we also can't just accept that he's been totally cleared. Clarifying his status, either by exonerating him with hard evidence or refocusing the investigation on him, is a strategic necessity.
The core tragedy here is just such a powerful warning. A vulnerable teen struggling with grief, lured by an anonymous contact who exploited her desire for connection.
A meeting orchestrated around money and transport that led to a new life she never got to start.
We really urge you, our listeners, to think about the lessons here, to understand the risks of these anonymous apps, and to recognize the signs of external control in a young person's behavior.
If you have any information at all about Mekayla Bali's disappearance, especially about the man with the fiery cross tattoo, please contact the authorities.
The number for the Yorkton RCMP is 306-786-2400. Or you can call the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children at 1-800-THE-LOST.
Don't forget to subscribe to Whispers of Crime on YouTube and follow us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Spreaker, and all major podcast platforms.
Yeah, please like, share, and comment on this episode. It really helps us reach more people. And if you can, leave us a positive review and rating. It means a lot.
We appreciate you taking this deep dive with us.
Before we go, I want to leave you with a final thought, one that builds on the friction points of that day. Mekayla went back to her school for just 4 minutes. She told her friends she'd see them at lunch, then walked out for the last time. What if that brief return wasn't about following the plan? What if it was a fleeting, terrifying moment where she tried to send an SOS to her classmates? A last chance that was extinguished by the controlling hand of the person on that burner phone, forcing her back to the rendezvous point. It just raises the question, how close did she come to surviving that morning?